Oh, hey there, neighbor. What are you doing sitting in the milk parlor in the dark? Um, well, welcome back to Goat Fort Farm, anyways, I guess. And while you're here, we can do some chores and talk about some things. I did have my cardiologist. Well, I had a stress test, which a cardiologist looked over yesterday. And then I also had an ultrasound of my heart, so we can talk about that. Hopefully, you're doing well too. Don't know what you're up to today, other than, I guess, now helping me with chores, but hopefully, your day so far has been pretty good. There's been some drama over there with the birds, so we'll go out there and talk about that too. So, come on, let's go. We're gonna need some minerals. I like to give the goats a good amount of minerals every single day, just as kind of like a supplement. We don't really feed them that much grain though. Most of them, other than the boys and the girls in milk, they just go graze. So we don't have that much work we have to do today. Just give them some minerals. We've already done all the hard stuff before you showed up. We can also take a cup of worms out to the birds while we talk about their social drama. They really surprised me. Some of the chickens exhibited some rather negative behavior, but I can't say it's that different from behavior we see people exhibit sometimes, unfortunately. All right, we've got our stuff. Let's roll. Oh, and before we go out there, yeah, it's Arkansas. Go Hogs. If you're watching the World Series, hopefully today we will win our baseball game against LSU, and then the game tomorrow, and then like the whole World Series. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know if you watch baseball or not, but I love sports. Anything competitive I can really get into. So, yeah, love this time of year. This is a great time for us to do this because most of the goats are not around, and the only one I can really see that belongs in this group is Trixie. But Trixie's in heat, and so she's standing over there by the boys. I wonder if any of the others are in heat right now. I think Sugar might have been yesterday. We'll see if she still is today. And Penny was kind of acting weird too. But let's get this taken care of before they get back over here. Really, any and all chores that pertain to the goats are easier to do when the goats aren't there. When it comes to feeding, that is. Feeding, cleaning anything, doing a fence. Goodness, they'll just be all up in your business. And I admire how curious they are. I really do. But their curiosity can get in the way of progress sometimes. And of all the room they have in here, they still like to, I don't know if they like to, but they still do go to the bathroom in their feed bowls. And since I discovered my postural tachycardia issue, I've been really trying to not bend over as much. And since I don't stoop down all the way as much anymore, trying not to make my heart go fast, sometimes I have to get a little bit creative on how I empty these. Now, all of these are very clean. The goats did a good job of not making these feed bowls disgusting, which I appreciate. Now, we are not going to pour this one over here because this is some worms. We'll take that over to the birds. We can look at these chickens real quick over here. I'm still not hearing much in the way of cock-a-doodle-doo ever. I wonder if the one that had started crowing was one of the two that left already. Hello, pretty Americanas. These are my black Americanas, and they are beautiful. Y'all are such pretty birds. They remind me of ravens. How fluffy they are. And then all my roosters are doing okay. Foghorn is chilling over here with all these barred rock boys. It's weird how they even separate themselves sometimes into groups. And that group separation is one of the things I want to talk to you about today. The other night, whenever the birds were put up, I've been putting them up every night. I let them graze or forage, I guess you'd say, during the day and then close them up at night. And there was one guinea who wanted to be in with the chickens. And I was like, oh, that's cute. It didn't want to leave and go back with the other guineas. And so I didn't really think anything of it. Just closed it up because the guineas have been living with chickens and some of the chickens have been with the guineas. And I thought it was fine. No big deal, right? No, it wasn't fine. I'm like, how weird is this? The black chickens I have over here that have the feathery feet and the guineas that have been living together are in this coop right now. Whereas the chickens that live in this coop, or at least sleep in this coop, are in the guinea coop right now. I don't know why they switch during the day, but they do. Here, let's pour out these worms. Here's some over here for y'all. Let's just spread them around so they can find them throughout the day today. Kind of make it a game for them. Hey, chickens. There we go. Well, we didn't need this bowl anyways, I guess. But it was really sad what happened to that one guinea. Let's see if we can find it. So the next morning when I came out, that one guinea, its head was completely red. I think that's it right there. Y'all see how that one's head is like busted right there? When I came out to look the next morning, that one guinea was up here. Did y'all knock your food over? Why would y'all do that? I'll have to get y'all a refill in a little bit. But that one guinea was up here and all the chickens were down on the bottom. And when I opened the nesting box back here, or the roosting area, it was just sitting up here, its head all bloody. And it was really sad. It had been completely rejected by the chickens over here. And it just kind of reminded me of something that we see all too often, which is a fear of the unknown. These chickens, these black chickens right here, have been living with the guineas, like basically ever since they hatched. Well, actually, we got those at Tractor Supply, but you know what I mean, very early on. And they have no issues. They are one flock. Whereas the chickens over here that didn't have a guinea in their group, when a guinea tried to join them, it was just attacked like crazy. And I'm thankful, you know, it should be okay. But who knows? I mean, it wasn't able to get to the food or water that morning. And y'all knocked that over again? Y'all are little terrorizers. I'll probably have to hang that. But I don't know. It was just really sad to me. Nature can be cruel. And people, I mean, people do that too. People can be really hateful to those they're not familiar with. And I also thought, you know, aside from socially, things that you're not familiar with in general can make you afraid or reactive in a way that's really not necessary. I know for me, that's been a big thing with the fast heart rate I've been having for a few months, or at least I've known about it for a few months. And going for a test yesterday to try and identify like what's going on with my heart. The first test was called a stress test. Oh, get back, Scout. Get back, Scout. I'm gonna have to push him back. Oh man, these boys. I think we're about to find out if any of the girls are in heat. I'll let Scout out in a little bit, but I have to go up and close a gate. Otherwise, Scout will book it out of here, and I can't have that. Yeah, he's our little escape artist. Yeah. But anyways, I went for that test yesterday, and I mean, I was stressed about it. It's called a stress test, you know? I guess I was doing my homework before the actual test began to already be stressed about it. But I went, and they hooked me up to an EKG where they can look at your heart rhythm, and had me just sitting down for a little bit. And they finally said, okay, are you ready to get on the treadmill? Because what they do is they put you on a treadmill, and they first start you out walking, and then they speed it up, and they can like cause the treadmill to go on an incline, so you're working a little bit harder and so on. So they said, are you ready to start? And I was like, well, yeah, this is going to be the worst part for me, just getting out of the chair and standing up. And they were like, what? What? And they looked at the monitor, and my resting heart rate when I was seated was 82. And when I stood up to get on the treadmill, it went up to 118 beats per minute. And they were like, are you okay? They all like had like kind of a little bit of a wide-eyed look looking at me like, oh, you're serious? You're for real? Like, yeah, I really am, actually. And so I walked on the treadmill. They had me get my heart rate up to like 164, I think it was. It went up to 171, but it took a while because I'm on a medication that slows my heart down. What it does is it blocks my heart from responding to the adrenaline that is released whenever a person stands up. There's a little bit of a response that everyone has, but mine is a very overreactive response, obviously. And so I did get my results of that test back, and thankfully I did not have any kind of abnormal rhythm. They said that like my rhythm looks normal, and I'm so thankful for that, that I didn't have an arrhythmia or anything like that presenting. And so now I'm just waiting on one more test to come back. Right after the stress test, I had an echo done where they do an ultrasound of the heart. And that was much more peaceful and relaxing than the stress test was. And while they did the echo or the ultrasound of my heart, they actually went to all 4 of the valves in the heart and recorded the sounds of them. Like, I was expecting them to take pictures of everything, but them recording the sounds of the valves working was really neat and also strange, because you're used to hearing, like, if you've ever put a stethoscope up to your heart, the lub dub sound. But and the tech described it as this and was so like spot on. Your valves, some of them sound like if you're taking a piece of metal, like some tin, and flapping it in the wind. It's like um obviously with more of a rhythm than that. And now my cardiologist has heart monitor data from me, has the stress test data, which came back good, and has the ultrasound data. And so I'm hoping he looks over all of that pretty soon and lets me know what he's thinking. There is a medication they're wanting to put me on, but I'm kind of scared to take it with already being on something that lowers my heart rate. But I'm just waiting for advice from him and to make a decision from there. Do you notice that we're missing someone? We've got Confetti. We've got Boots. And we have both Baker, who's in the leaves somewhere there, and we have Silver. But we are, in fact, missing sweet little Cash. Man, y'all are hidden, aren't you? There's Silver. Cash and Dovey are both on my parents' side of the property over there. Because Dovey is supposed to leave, hopefully, bread in about a month. So they kind of have to spend time together, and Dovey actually jumped out of the pen when she was over here. So, yeah. And her baby's doing fine. If you ever have to separate goats, it's really best if they're not where they can see their baby that they're weaning, which probably sounds like super cruel, but it's true. If you've ever had to wean an animal from their mom, if they can see each other, it's horrible. They will look at each other and cry and cry and cry, and they'll eventually stop. But if you separate them far enough that they don't see or hear one another calling, it is so peaceful. Here's my two girls that look so very much alike, but the one on the right is Nova, Emma's baby, and the one on the left is Dawn, who's Dovey's baby, and therefore Sugar's granddaughter. It's so sweet to see them beside each other, though. But as you can see, she is not stressed. She was way past the age of needing to be weaned. Goodness, she's probably at least 5 months old now. And Nova, to that same effect, really could be weaned and should already be weaned from Emma. But she's just such a good mom, Emma is. And even though her baby was born at the end of November, she is still letting her nurse. So what can I say? We've got some good moms in the herd, which you love to see. It's always sad when you have to separate some of the babies from their moms. But especially when it comes to the bucklings, you cannot just keep the bucklings with the moms. Usually between 8 and 12 weeks, we go ahead and pull the boys anyways, because if you don't separate the boys from their moms and sisters and all that, they're just going to reproduce with whoever they get a chance when they start going into heat. And you can't, you could do that, but I don't recommend it. Mammals don't do good with inbreeding. Birds kind of do okay, I guess, but not mammals. Not a good idea. Really, the only other thing that needs to happen today, other than rooting for the Hogs tonight to win their baseball game, is I need to go up there and close the gate so I can let Sweet Scout out and him not run into the horizon. And the turkeys are about to move. They're not leaving the farm, but the turkeys, will get them moved over to my parents' side, and that'll be good because look at the buck pen, y'all. The buck pen is almost back in full force, and I'll be able to open this back up, and the bucks actually have some stuff to graze on while they're put up. And that'll give Scout a lot more room too when they're put up. So I'm stoked for that. Why is there an egg just laying on the floor? It's things like this that really show me why the turkeys haven't been able to have any babies. I mean, what are y'all doing? Featherington's over here just chillaxing, as per usual. And then Philippa looks like she's on a nest. But why? If you don't lay the egg on the nest, then what are you sitting on? Thank you for joining me. I know you can probably relate to feeling scared of the unknown. There's a lot of, I've had a lot of like medical anxiety and like fear of going to the doctor about the issues that I've been having, but I'm so thankful that I've been persistent in going and trying to figure out what's going on, like with my heart, with my health, because when you know something, you can do something about it, and that's worth it. So thanks again for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and don't forget, if you have a dream, go for it. See you next time.